Well, my freshman year, I moved to Denton and lived with my dad. With my dad, there was a lot more freedom, but at the same time, my focus wasn't school. I was planning not on graduating actually, but communities and schools and the people that were dedicated and helped out really changed my view on things, the mentors who volunteered to mentor me. Currently, I am at Cedar Valley College.
Communities and Schools has been a lifeline, literally, for our students at Lake Dallas Elementary. Communities and Schools is helping serve over 80 students and families in our community in every way.
So Bedtime Rescue needed to depend on an organization to get good information. And so we discovered that quite often a child will cry out to a teacher, we're sleeping in our car, or we had to move out of our house. And so then the teacher can contact Communities and Schools, and they directly contact us.
Well, our district, I think, was one of the original districts that started with Communities and Schools of Denton County. We were interested in finding a way to help disadvantaged students, and Communities and Schools seem to be the answer to that.
Research shows that the #1 factor of whether or not a child will be successful or will be more likely to fail in school is their economic status. With a growing number of low-income families in our community, what that leads to is a higher number of at-risk students that would potentially drop out of school. We have a lot of children that we work with that have incarcerated parents. We have a lot of children that have been surrounded by family members that use drugs, that sell drugs, that are in gangs, that are recruiting their children and their siblings to become pipelined into that gang. As every superintendent we've worked with says, the need is growing faster than the resources are keeping up with.
The original vision for the group was to provide whatever the students needed outside of the academic world and classroom, which the school districts were taking care of, to help them be ready for their classes and to be ready to be able to do their homework or anything else that they needed academically so that they could succeed and go on and have a better life.
It was confusion at first as to where we're going to go and where we would find an office and hiring our first executive director, and it was very exciting times, that's for sure.
It's so fun to think about those times. There were 13 of us, staff-wise. We were in 10 schools. We owned 1 computer, but it was just a tightly knit team that was committed to serving kids who are at risk of dropping out of school.
What we saw was a significant change in the culture. Many people who had no involvement in schools, in fact probably hadn't even been inside a school in many years. Okay. What had happened was the number of poor kids or economically disadvantaged kids in the Louisville Independent School District had multiplied. So there were significant numbers of children who needed additional help. And as people became aware of this, and it was one of those kind of things as, one person would tell another person and that person would tell their neighbor, and we began getting more and more people who were, I think, actually contacting Communities and Schools wanting to provide support as they gained more information about the good work that the organization was doing.
Communities and Schools in 2012 served over 4,000 children in Denton County, which is an amazing place from where we were 20 years ago, where we started out with 1 school and 1 school district in 1 county. Now we're in 5 school districts in 2 counties, and we have over 40 programs that we're able to serve over 4,000 children, which is a wonderful thing. The reality is, though, we live in an area that has 20,000 plus students that are considered low income and at risk of dropping out of school. And the limitations that we have are not the desires of who we are or where our board is. The limitations purely exist financially. Can we support a program in that district? Can we meet the resources, bring the resources into that school, into that individual child's life? When it comes down to it, it purely is financial.
It is essential that our students are provided services throughout their career, pre-K through 12th grade and even beyond. And so we feel that it's extremely important for Communities and Schools and for any program that assists students and families to follow those students throughout their career. For Communities and Schools to be able to serve students and families as they transition, those years are so critical in the development of a child and also in the development of a family. And I think that's the goal, to not just help the one student but to help the community in terms of bringing in the family as well.
We are communities in schools, and so we could not do what we do without the community support. We have over 100 partners between churches and universities and nonprofits and other businesses that we work with on a daily basis that enables us to bring resources into the school. We have not changed our model. It looks exactly as it did in 1993. We have a social worker on a school site that works directly with the students day in, day out, that builds that relationships and builds that trust with the children and with the families. We're able to bridge the resources into the community. We're just able to do more of it because of the support that we've had from the community. Last year, in 2011 and 12 school year, we had 98% of our students promote to the next grade level, which is a huge testament to the collaboration that we've had with our staff working with the school staff and with the family members to help these children be successful.
You know, I always remembered thinking when I walked in the door and joined that staff of 13 that there were board members and staff that came before us that built a foundation, a really firm social work-based, high outcome foundation that allowed us to grow the organization.
I think over the last 20 years, every year, it has just gotten better, bigger and better. And every executive director that we hired had a different skill set and was able to take the organization to a new level.
We started with three campuses that had case managers, and now we've grown to a total of 15 different programs in the school district.
I'm not sure what we would have done without Communities in Schools this year with the support, not necessarily financial support, but support socially for our students, support through tutorials, assistance after school, our food program, you name it.
And I'm so proud to have been a part of the original group that got this started, because it's so neat to see all the great things they're doing in the school districts now.
When it comes down to it, we're a village, and it takes a village to raise a child. And if we can come together, we're able to not just help one individual child, but we're helping our community at large and therefore helping ourselves live in a healthy, more productive society.